Hello again, welcome back. Another day out in nature. There's another post for Mental Health Awareness Week. Being out in nature can highly reduce stress, anxiety levels, depression, all sorts. I've been out today feeding the animals. Like I said in my previous videos about combining your mental well-being and your physical well-being together, and how vital it is for your overall growth and health. I've done my bit of exercise today, been to the gym. I've spent a bit of time out in nature, feeding all the squirrels and the geese and the pigeons, the crows, everything that'd fly towards me. As soon as they see my bag, they know I've got food on me for them, so they just come straight at me nowadays. They recognise me. But yeah, this is just another post for Mental Health Awareness Week, and a reminder to say get yourself out in nature if you can. Today's a little bit overcast, but that don't matter. I've been out in nature, listening to all the birds sing, looking at all the flowers that's bloomed, all the nice colours that's there, and just try and drop my my stress levels down, because I've had quite a busy week, as a lot of people have. So like I said, if you can get yourself out in nature, then definitely do, because it changes your whole body chemistry. I'm just walking along, right? Look at this dude sitting here. Eating all the nuts I've thrown him. Yeah, if you can get yourself out in nature, even sitting in the garden for half hour or so, then, you know, get yourself away from technology. And like I said in yesterday's video, it's a shame that I've got to film this, because it takes away my enjoyment of actually being out in nature. Got another squirrel climbing up my leg. And like I said before, for me, it's an important factor in my well-being, is to be in nature and just enjoy the real world, you know, all this, rather than being stuck on computers all day. And I know it's part of daily life, you know, especially for a lot of people that work from home, because they're tied to their computer. But honest, just take some time away from it, because it can be such a toxic environment. Like social media, it can be such a toxic environment, and that is what causes a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety for people, because there's this fake world that's been created of comparison and living up to standards that ain't real, you know. Fake beauty, fake wealth, because money doesn't make you wealthy. A rich life makes you wealthy. Having your mental health and your physical health be top priority, that makes you wealthy, you know. And I've said it before in other videos about how people chase after a false dream that's been put on them from society standards. Like, you know, and I've worked in a lot of places where people compare their cars and, you know, where they live and stuff, and it's so toxic, so toxic. So, you know, just try and step away from that false reality and get out into the real world, which is this. And you'll soon see that your levels of depression and anxiety and stress will dramatically drop, and you'll return back to your natural frequency, which then gets you prepared to step back into that world that has been thrown upon us. And that causes a lot of mental stress and anxiety for people, because there's a false narrative that's been pushed upon them from all different types of societal standards, you know, from beauty to wealth to possessions, and none of it matters. None of it matters. You know, of course we all want, you know, probably a nice big house to live in that's spacious and, you know, well looked after, and that we want nice clothes. A lot of people want a nice car, you know, but them sort of things don't really bother me. Unless I'm getting, you know, James Bond's car or a Batmobile, I don't give a crap. I don't give a crap about that sort of stuff, you know. And I was saying to someone yesterday, I met a stranger as I was doing a bit of shopping, yeah, and this woman was just all of a sudden started telling me her life story, out of nowhere, you know, and I'm polite enough to listen because she obviously needed someone to say it to. And she was saying about how she's going to go treat herself. She had a busy day, busy schedule and stuff, and she went, oh, I'm going to go in the charity shop here and treat myself. I said, I'll get a lot of my best stuff out of charity shops because I like quirky things, I like one-off things. I don't really like what everyone else likes. She was like, oh, I'm exactly the same. And I went, if it ain't from there, it's from Primark. And we had the joke about the Primani, the Primani gear that we wear. And she went, oh, you look nice though, didn't you? And I was just wearing my usual crap that no one else, that don't fit in with no one else. So, you know, and I've said this before to someone at my gym, where everyone's in a black tracksuit. Everyone, you know, I'm in a building of about 50 people, and everyone's wearing a fucking black tracksuit, you know, just to try and fit in with the herd. And I was told as a child I was the black sheep of the family. So my strangeness and my uniqueness is what makes me me, you know. And that's another point of what causes mental health issues, is trying to fit in with other people, you know, for acceptance. And just by being you, you can have a knock-on effect around you. You can have a knock-on effect where other people see your uniqueness. They think, I'd love to be like that. I'd love to be like that. But a lot of them haven't got the guts to do it. They haven't got the confidence to do it themselves, you know. And there's no knock on anyone, because we've all done it. We've all followed the herd, you know. And that's from school age right up to adulthood, you know. Anyone who's in their mid-30s, like me, well, pushing just over mid-30s now, would remember the craze of the Pokemon cards. Do you remember that? The Pokemon fucking cards. Oh, I got shiny, I got Mewtwo, you know. Or the yo-yos. Do you remember that craze with the yo-yos? And everyone had to fucking have one. That's what I'm getting at. is don't try and fit in with people, because that actually causes more mental stress. That causes a bigger outcome on your stress levels than virtually anything else on this planet, is trying to fit in with other people when you haven't got to. I've always said I'm a bit of a lone wolf because I do everything on my own. And as lonely as it is, I know it's for my highest good, because I know full well if I try and fit in with other people nowadays, especially nowadays, I'd crack so fucking quick. And that's the point I'm trying to get across, is that trying to fit in with other people causes so much stress and anxiety on our minds, our bodies, because we'll be in an environment where we feel like, I don't really fit in here, so I'll do what they're doing, kind of thing. We've all done it, and then you take that away with you, and then because deep down in your heart you feel, I don't feel that way, I don't think that way, you know, I just don't want to stand out like a sore thumb, you know. That causes such an effect on your mind. It causes such a tremendous effect on your mind that you walk away and you feel different, because you feel like, oh, you know, there must be something wrong with me, sort of thing. And then you go back into that crowd again, like a work environment or a friend group, and then you do it all over again, you know, for acceptance, you know, where it's all about self-acceptance, you know. And for me, like I've said before, nature, I absolutely love being out in nature, you know, especially on a nice sunny day. I love art. Since a child, I've naturally gifted, God-given gift, that I can basically make anything out of any material. That's something I've always been able to do. I haven't had to study for it. I was born with it, you know. I was doing my older brother's art homework when I was, you know, in primary school, without well, I didn't learn anything to go and do it. I just naturally done it, you know. And for me, art is another big way of me expressing my true self and my emotions or thoughts in that moment in time. And like I said in yesterday's video, it's to the point of, I can make a piece of art that I'm feeling a particular point, say on a Monday, right? And it takes me a couple of days or whatever to make it, or a week because of a busy schedule. And then it could be 2-3 weeks later when I actually can be bothered, or I'm feeling ready to film it and post it to somewhere, you know, either on my website or my social medias, or, you know, my channels or whatever. And people see it at that point in time and think that must be what he's going through. But like I said, I've already evolved. I've evolved from that moment on so quickly, because as soon as pen touch paper, so to speak, it's gone. I've released that energy. And I said yesterday about about writing stuff down. You know, if you can write stuff down, your emotions or feelings, even for that day, and it might just be one person in your social environment in that day that has really got under your skin and annoyed you, you know. But because of the way the world is, we can't exactly say our true feelings. Turn around and say to your boss, you're a prick, you know, you're an absolute spiteful prick who don't deserve the power you've got because you abuse it, you know. Because you can't say that to them, and you know they'll deliberately sack you, you know, walk away. And people walk away and hold that in, and then it builds up on your body, you know. And I've said before, holding hate or anger against someone is like you drinking poison and expecting that poison to affect them who's hurt you, you know. When if you can just release it, write it down, or draw a picture, you know. A lot of people ain't artists, but art's subjective. There's no right or wrong. Write a story, or, you know, write down your feeling, or draw a picture, and then it's gone. That energy build up is gone. You know, you can just carry on about your day then. and you know from that point you've released it, but then at the same time, that person who is a negative influence on someone or a constant abuser of power will just stay that way, you know, because that's them eating away at their own inner selves, you know. So it's a good way of relieving any mental stress or anxiety or any build up of negative energy that's in you, because otherwise it goes back into your system. You know, what you can't release circulates back through your body, you know, and if it can't push out of your body, it will go to your mind. And that's quantum mechanics. That's, you know, you can look that up yourself. I haven't got to explain that, because deep down everyone knows what I'm getting at here, you know. But again, it's a key sign to take care of your mental health. And like I said, by doing physical exercise, you actually release that energy out. You release that tension of build up. Because as soon as you've done, say, I don't know, do 10, 15 push-ups, right? Once you get back up, you'll feel not only your blood's pumping, but you can feel a tension release go within you. You know, you've got rid of anything that was built up and held into you, you know. And it's vital. Any form of, you know, physical activity, even walking without running. A lot of people who have got injuries, they can't go pushing, like, you know, bench pressing or, you know, doing 100 sit-ups and stuff, you know. But just a nice stroll, and that's why I say get out in nature, because nature will naturally ground any energy that's around you. And if you can get away from technology for a little bit, then that's the biggest thing, you know. I've got a bit of a grudge against technology myself. Right? I'm a bit of a John Connor, because I hate technology because it corrupts everything. It's made people lazy and stupid, because they literally see something. They see a post from the so-called influencers, you know, saying about how to get your new Lamborghini and fucking get your tits done and stuff like that, right? All these idiots that are blind. They're blind to the real world, you know. And I know I'm not the only one who feels this way, but today I'm the guy who has to say it. I'm the guy that has to say it, you know, because I've been put here to do it. And like I've said before, I don't really like having to do these videos, and this is all for Mental Health Awareness Week, because after this week's gone, this project's gone, and I'll move to my next project, as I always do, my next activity, you know. But if you can get yourself away from technology for a little bit, then absolutely great, you know. I hope with all my heart that if you come across this video, watch it, and then once you've watched it, you know, just turn your phone off for a bit, turn it off for a bit, and even if you can't get outside, you know, just sit there in your own thoughts for a little spell with no noise around you, you know, no influence of TV advertisements and, you know, everything else that comes in societal's norm, you know. That's what I'd love for everyone. I'd love that for everyone, because watch the chemistry in your body change, you know. People get their dopamine fix from the craziest of things, you know what I mean, the most toxic of things, and people get addicted to it, you know. And it's the same as drug abuse and alcoholism, you know, even overeating, undereating, you know. Your body becomes addicted to toxic stuff and toxic thought patterns, you know. And we all know better, you know, even though we're doing harm to ourselves by doing this and you know, taking part in these activities, you know, we know we're causing ourselves harm, but instead of stepping away from it, our societal norm around us says that that's okay, that's acceptable, and it's not acceptable. Not in my standards, not in my eyes, it's not acceptable. You know, it took me a long time to get to that point of realisation, because I just went along. You know, I was the person that didn't fit into the crowd, and I tried to, and that killed me. That absolutely killed my soul. That did. And it's another reason why I'm saying to you, just be your unique self and don't follow other people's opinions, whether it's your friends, your family, your co-workers, whatever it's your partners, whatever it is, whatever standard you're in, whatever situation you're in, you know, don't try and fit in with the crowd, because that will cause twice the amount of anxiety or pressure and toxicity in your body, which you then have to try and relieve some way, you know. And we are going to accumulate dirty negative energy that we don't want from other people, you know. And that's why I'm saying about trying to put it to something, you know, write it down. Even if something's really, really bugging you, write it down, you know, because once you've written it down, it's released. And a lot of people would say, burn it. Once you've written it down, anything you want to release, burn it, they say. And it is true, because you're releasing that energy again, you know, that build up of energy. And for me, if I'm not writing down stuff or creating, then it just eats away at me. It eats away at me, you know, and it causes me more mental stress, more anxiety, because I'm not being me. I'm not being my unique self, you know. We're all different, and we're all meant to be different, because we weren't a pack of plastic toy soldiers that come out the same pack, you know. For everyone that wants to be the same plastic toy soldier as everyone else, I'm the action man that you can dress differently and does all different activities, you know. So again, this is a bit of a rant, but it's necessary. I believe it's necessary for the greater good. It's necessary for it, and from that you can take something away from this, you know. You can take something away from it, and you can inspire someone else or help someone else, you know. And that's all I want from this, is everyone's well-being, everyone to have good harmonious well-being in themselves and with others, without feeling obligated to please other people, because a lot of us have become people pleasers in life just to gain acceptance in some way, you know. It's a sad truth, but it is the truth, you know. And whether people want to deny it or not, you're a liar to yourself, you know. You can lie to anyone else and say, no, I'm not, but we've all done it, and we'll still do it, even as adults, you know. So lie to other people, sure, but you're lying to yourself. So, you know, this is again just another one for Mental Health Awareness Week, because there ain't much of it left, and the more messages I can get across, then the better for everyone, you know. You get stuff off my chest, my own opinions and my feelings, which you haven't got to take on board. Like I said yesterday, it's just my opinion of stuff, but out of it you'll find clarity in yourself, because even if you don't agree with parts of what I'm saying, then you know there's a correct path for yourself, you know. So yeah, hopefully it can help someone with what I'm saying today. I was in a bit of a stressful mood earlier, so, and I've said about before on my channels about no fancy backgrounds. I don't stick no music on, you know. I don't do what the norm crowd does, you know, because I'm not trying to get, you know, 1 million views on YouTube or stuff like that, or TikTok or Instagram, all the rest of it. I'm just trying to get the message out to someone who it can help. And like I said before, I like helping people. It's part of who I am. Ever since I was a child, I've loved helping people, because when I was a child I wanted to be a superhero. So I grew up with them morals, and I stick to it. You know, if you're not doing good for someone, you're doing harm to someone, is the way I see things, you know, whether you agree or not. I don't really care, because that's you, and you've got to work through that problem yourself. Okay, so this is again day 4, I believe this is now, of Mental Health Awareness Week, and I wish you all a happy day, a happy week, and a happy weekend. Bye.